We'll see how far I can go, right to the tree. Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope everybody's having a great weekend. I'm here on my lunch break at work. We're gonna come out and do a little bit of bass fishing, see what we can catch, and talk to you guys about something that's been on my mind for a while. And the topic of the day is pro staff and sponsorships, and how I see it, and what I think about it. So let's get into it. Okay, so when it comes to sponsorships and pro staff, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? For most people, it's probably somebody who gets free stuff from a company. Oh, there we go. Right off the bat. You foul hooked? No, kind of. Somebody who gets free stuff off the bat. Somebody who gets a free product to try out. Things like that. And that's not always the case. Maybe with some companies it is. Not so much, too much in the fishing world. And each company has their own take on it as well. So pro staff relates to the word promotional staff, not necessarily professional staff. And I think a lot of people get that confused. Pro staff is usually thought of as tournament anglers when it comes to fishing. People who go out with big fancy boats and big fancy gear, and they fish a lot of tournaments and show off the stuff to the companies. Another, for somebody who's not into the fishing world that may be watching this, you could think of maybe BMX or the Olympics or NASCAR, and you see all those people with all those logos on all their jerseys and all their equipment, and it's mainly to advertise. And a promotional staff person's relationship with a company is pretty symbiotic. They're out there to show off their stuff, and the company gives them things, for the most part, to show off, to bring in customers and sales and more networking and business opportunities, things like that. So what entails in being on these pro staffs? I'll probably say this 100 times in this video. I don't know how it all works. Even being a business owner myself with Whisker Stix LLC, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I don't know how companies draw up their contracts. I don't know the terms. I just know the biggest misconception is people get on these pro staff teams and they just get a bunch of free stuff to use, and they want to know how they can get on it, and that's not true. In my case, with my company, I have 4 anglers that are on my sponsor team, and I'll get into some detail on those guys here in a little bit. But some people think it's a joke, it's just a big gimmick, it's a big game, and it's not really worth being a part of. Some people think it's everything, and they'll do just about anything to get on it. And a lot of people want to know how you can get involved in these programs with some of these companies. And there's more to it than meets the eye. You don't just walk up to a company and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I catch a lot of fish, and I can show off your stuff good, and you should make me a pro staff. Most companies probably won't bite on that. The way it usually works is companies will watch so-and-so person for a significant amount of time, even years, before they will reach out to that person and invite them to come onto the team. Some companies have applications where you can apply to be on there, and then you'll be accepted or rejected, kind of like a job application almost. But there's things behind the scenes that go on that a lot of people don't see, and I'm still learning some of this myself. So this isn't an expert opinion, this is just my personal opinion. But there are things that do go on that a lot of people don't probably expect to have to do when they're thinking about doing this. And there's a lot of time involved, there's a lot of sweat involved, there's a lot of work involved. Some companies actually have stipulations where you have to do certain amounts of tasks within a given amount of time to stay on that team. And feel free to let me know in the comments below your guys' takes on this. Maybe I say something that's completely wrong, or maybe I say something that's right on the money that you guys don't know. I don't know. But you got to put a lot of time in with most of these companies. You go out to trade shows, you go out to tournaments, you go out to events. If they're hosting a charity fundraiser or anything like that, you show up and do your part. You're almost like you're part of the team. Whether you get paid or not, it's almost like an internship in some cases. You got to show up and do the work to stay part of it, because you're proactively working with the company and helping represent their image. Thought I had something. Yeah, a lot of these companies will watch you for a really long time before they'll even approach you, and you don't know that they're watching you either. They're watching stuff that you put out. They're watching activities you partake in, efforts that you might try to put in to just offer up on your own free will, and they take notice to stuff like that, and that makes a big difference. So let's get into my team for a minute. I have 4 anglers that's on our sponsorship team. I don't call it a pro staff, I don't call it a field staff, I just call them sponsored anglers, and it's literally just that. The way that I see it, since I don't know all the ins and outs of pro staffing and how other companies do their thing, I just kind of made up my own rules. That's the beauty of being a business owner. Make up your own rules, do what you want. So I did what I wanted, and I've myself kept an eye on these guys for a long time, and it's just things that I've noticed with them over the last about 2 years, almost coming up on 2 years. Things they've done upon their own free will, represent my company, represent my products. They would go to bait shops and take their own product that they bought from me out of their own money and give samples of them out to these bait shops, or even people they just meet while they're out fishing, and show the stuff off to them and say, here's a Whisker stick, keep it, try it out. If you like more, go to their website and buy some. And it's helped me out a lot. It's got me a lot of sales. It's brought me a lot of new customer bases in regions that I wasn't in before. It's brought me new networking opportunities and business opportunities and partnership opportunities. Tournament partnership opportunities, and it's helped advertise me, and we were humbled by the fact that they would do that. So we finally came up to these guys and said, hey, we appreciate what you've done, and we want to thank you for what you've done, so we would like to offer you a sponsorship deal with Whisker Stix. And so what I do is, if they need products, or we come out with something new, they get first shot at it and to test it out and provide feedback for improvement. And they might use something and find out a flaw and let me know beforehand before I release it to the public, stuff like that. And if we come out with say a new shirt design or a new hat design, like we just came out with those new hats, we're gonna let them have a sample of that too. And in return, they just keep doing what they do best. They go out and show my stuff off. They help come to tournaments and trade shows. So when Catfish Conference comes up next year, they'll be helping participate with the booths and working with customers and stuff like that. 2 of my anglers were able to show up to the Captain Mad Jack's event this year. They set up a booth for us before I could get there, and helped run that booth pretty much the whole weekend. They even pitched in to help Steve Douglas with running the tournament fish back down to the lake to revive them and release them. as well as pitched in to help Steve break all his staging and stuff down to get it back loaded back up so he could get out of there quicker. And that's not even something that we told them to do. They just kind of hung out and stuck around and offered their hand. And those are the type of people that we like to have on our team. With that said, just because somebody's on a pro staff doesn't mean they're a big, huge name either. The 4 sponsored anglers that are on my team are John Liberty, Jeff Moorhead, Frank Neely, and Everett Mathis. I call him Al. And these guys aren't big, huge tournament anglers. They are all 4 YouTubers. They each have their YouTube channels. They do YouTube videos for catfishing. They promote my products in their videos, and it's not because of an obligation where I'm saying, hey, you have to put this in every one of your videos, or at least every other video. They do it because they like the product, and for the last couple years they've always bought them out of their own money. And these guys have bought thousands of dollars worth of these things, and they bought thousands of dollars of them because they would say they buy 50 lights. 9 times out of 10 they were giving 45 of them away to other people for free to help advertise them and let people try them out for the first time, and then they just keep what they need and they'd give away the rest. Next thing you know, they're coming around and buying some more. They're not gonna have to do that anymore now that they're on our team, but they can't just come up to me and say, hey, I need 1,000 lights because I'm out. I'm not gonna give them 1,000. I'll give them what they need. But if they say, hey, Tim, there's a trade show coming up this weekend in my town, there's a small fishing swap meet, and I'd like to show your lights off down there. You think you could send me up about 100 or 200 of them to sell for you? Then that's something I would do. So, I don't, I just boogered that up. I don't know how it all works, how other companies do things. That's just how I like to roll. If they need something, then we try to help them out. And if I need something, they try to help me out. Example, if I wrote them and said, hey, I need you guys to go to the Mad Jacks for me, since you're going anyway, you think you could stop by this workshop, pick up our stuff, and set up shop for me while I'm there till I get there, because I can't get off work. And I'll be there when I get off work, which is exactly what happened. I got there about 1:30 a.m. and they had already planned on leaving at 4 in the morning to go down there. So it worked out good. They stopped by, it was on the way, and they set up shop for me, and then when I got there I took over, and they represented me well. And on the flip side, if they need something and they say, hey, we want to go to the Catfish Conference this year, but we're not going to have money for a hotel room or gas, could you help us out? Then I'll do what I can to try to do my best to help them to get them down there. If they're coming down to work for me and help make my life easier, I'm going to try to make their life easier too. It's a you scratch my back, I scratch yours type deal with my company. Another common misconception is some people think that the people that are pro staff by these companies are just friends or buddies or family members or relatives, and it's a favoritism type thing. That's not the case either. The people that I have on my team I watched for well over a year before I extended an offer to them. As I got to know these guys and build a relationship with them, I would talk with them on the phone often. They actually drove down here from Toledo, which is where they're all from, that area, that general area. They drove from up north. I think it's like a 5-hour drive. They came all the way down here to fish with me for a night. And we didn't really catch a lot that trip, but we still had fun. And we got to get to know each other better. It was a good bonding experience. And we did become great friends. So don't think that there's a difference between being friends with your sponsored team and being sponsored because you're a friend. Those are two totally different things. If that was the case, I'd bring somebody on that I'm friends with here at work who doesn't even fish just because I'm buddies with them. That would just be kind of stupid. Like I said, I don't know how all the pro staff and field staff stuff works. I'm sure there's lots of articles about it. That's just kind of my take on it. Oh, got a snag. I think people are more worried about who's buddies with the guys on the team, and everybody thinks they're just getting free stuff, and then they just get something for nothing, and that's really not it at all. The guys who are on these teams for any said company, they put in a lot of work. They got to do their due diligence. They show up to things, they help out, they put their heart into it, they put their soul into it, and they put a lot of time and money into it out of their own pocket. And it really is, to me, like an internship. I don't pay my anglers anything, but if they do need help, I'll try to help them the best I can. Now, if they came and told me that they wanted to go to a tournament in Florida to go fish it and they don't have the gas or want a hotel, I'm not able to do that. They're gonna have to find their own funding for that, 'cause unless I'm going to it too, then they could bunk up in the hotel room with me. I don't know. I don't really know what else I could say more on the subject, except the fact that it's a symbiotic relationship. It's a lot of give and take between the parties involved. It's an exchange of value between each other. They provide advertisement for me, and I give them some things to advertise with. And if you look closely when you go to some of these other events, I think I got something. Yep. Oh, he tried to dart off quick. Come here, baby. Oh, you're pretty big. Get these needle nose out here. Pretty nice one. It's a lot of give and take, and when you go to these events, you'll notice that for any of these other companies, even say Monster Rod Holders, for example, Terry Rogers is on their pro staff. He was at the Captain Mad Jack's event, helping with the booth, selling t-shirts and stuff. And Catfish Conference, he'll help out at the Catfish Conference running Steve's booths. And there's other guys on other companies' pro staffs that show up and do the same thing. You'll see a lot of these pro staff anglers working with the company to help run booths at trade shows or tournaments. They might be the tournament director guy that announces all the weights and stuff at the weigh-in, things like that. But you'll see them showing up to a lot of these things and putting in work, and they'll go out and do videos on YouTube or Facebook, or they'll help to share promotions and sales and stuff. And they put their time and effort in to earn that spot, and it's something that was earned, not given. It's not about necessarily how many people they can get your stuff in front of. It's the like-mindedness of the individual, their heart and their passion for the sport and the beliefs of your company, whatever your beliefs may be. And you got to be able to mesh well and get along with them. There's a big trust factor involved. It's almost like a marriage. Any type of business relationship is like a marriage. You got to make sure you can dedicate to it before you jump in with both feet. So I think that's about going to be it, guys. We caught a couple bass. I hope I kind of got my point across. It's a really simple concept to me. You have guys that help you out, and you help them out in return, and it benefits both parties involved. If you like what you're seeing in our videos, follow along with us. We appreciate it if you check us out. Stay tuned for more content to come. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and turn on your notifications. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Whisker Stix LLC. Give us a like. We're getting close to 3,000 likes. Check out our website, whiskerstixfishing.com. And follow us on Instagram too, WhiskerStixCincy. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comments, and we'll see you next time.